it has to come from the young people. The direction has to come from the young people, because that way they take ownership of it, they believe in it, and they can drive it.
I would say one of the greatest benefits of user-led research is that you're more reassured that the actual research goes to the art of the issue or the art of the question.
There's a more honest dialogue that goes on, because I think there is an element of trust and understanding that the young person being interviewed feels like, oh, this researcher knows where I'm coming from.
With young people, they're on the same wavelength, you can get to know them. You've been through similar experiences as them, so they know that you're not just trying to get information out of them, you're actually talking from experience yourself when you're talking to them. So that, they'll tell you their experiences because they feel more comfortable.
I think the key to the way we work with young people is that it's about starting at the young person's point of view. We play a lot of games, we use a lot of youth work techniques. For example, in the first session, when I had about 13 young people, we get them to draw a picture of their life. So they begin to know each other.
They just need the support and the guidance of a support worker. And that support worker, even in youth-led research, also needs to be there as a support, as a sounding board, but also not scared to take the lead at times, because at some time in this research project, demands on the young people, or not having knowledge of the terrain, what's immediately in front of them, causes them to panic. And that is really where the support worker steps in and shoulders the burden, which then can be relinquished at a later time back onto the young people. But this can all be negotiated up front.
I think your best advice for anyone doing the research project is stick with it, because it can seem very boring at the beginning, and like you're going nowhere at the very beginning, because it's all just planning and deciding what you're going to do and how you're going to do it, and that does take about the first half of the project, and it can seem long and boring and like you're not doing anything. But that the second half, when you do it all, you get the interviews, then you get the questions, that'll pass straight away. You'll enjoy it and it'll just seem to fly by.
There's about 3 significant challenges what I can identify. One is organisations what are really stuck in their way of working, one way of working, and that translates into using only one way of doing research, whether that's just doing interviews, action research, or doing focus groups. And that's a kind of a cardinal sin. You don't select your method before you've identified your question. The second one is resourcing. The under-resourcing, the fact that most research groups have the support of maybe one, and if they're lucky, 1.5 support workers. But that 1.5 support workers is meant to be there in the evenings, weekends. The third major challenge would be the nature, the fluidity of young people in research groups. The fact that young people need to be challenged, they need to be stretching themselves when they actually enter doing research, but they won't always have the time to commit to a research project, and young people's interest may wane. So you have to look at research and the process creatively, looking at who's got the skills and when it is really necessary for them to actually be pitching into the research process.
I think that perhaps the greatest impact is the journey of that young person. And most of the young people that actually came basically and wrote the research are young people who would not believe that they were capable of doing such a thing. They've attended conferences and run workshops, and they've done lots and lots of things since they've completed the report to sell it, if you like, and lobby for change.
We had fun at the same time as working really hard, and it was a fantastic outcome, and it's not finished. Our work now has been took to Australia and is getting published in a journal in Australia. So we're going international, we're getting somewhere.
I work with young people what caught the researcher bug, and so they was able to do their piece of research, they got their recommendations, they've got their changes in some cases, but they still got the bug to do research because they see the power in gathering evidence.
And it is brilliant afterwards, you feel better, you know that you've been listened to, especially, I mean, with our project we presented it to the decision makers and everything in the local area and decision makers on a national level, so we really felt well listened to and we're getting positive results out of it.